Hi, I'm Mia. You know me as a confident person and a dreamer, someone who's working towards her goals. But it wasn't always like that. I've been through lack of motivation, ups and downs, doubts and failures, and this part of my story is what I want to share with you today. At one point, I couldn't imagine that I'd be able to make money from trading, help my family, and build a community of like-minded people. It's a huge responsibility at 23, right? I used to think it was all so far out of reach, like it was meant for someone else, someone smarter, wealthier, luckier. Everyone around me seemed to have the chance for a better life, but not me. I was just a person with my own fears and weaknesses. How could I possibly ever conquer Everest? But the desire for more was always with me. I even created a vision board, sticking up pictures of the things I wanted, places I wanted to visit, things I dreamed of having. Everything I could imagine. Back then, I couldn't see the world in any other way, just pretty pictures on the internet. I was born in a small town in South Africa. Our house was tiny, but it was always warm and filled with love. My father would come home from work with oil-stained hands, but he was a mechanic, while my mother would set aside her bookkeeping for the store where she worked part-time to help us stay afloat. My parents were everything to me, and they did their best to give me a chance at a better life. I remember listening to their conversations about our family's financial struggles and realizing one thing: if I ever wanted a better future for them, I had to create it myself. There would be no magic switch, no sudden inheritance falling into my lap. I had to take responsibility for my own life. Education was my dream. I had always been a good student, but university costs money, and it felt like the door to a better future was firmly shut. Without a decent degree, breaking through seemed nearly impossible. So I made a decision: I would teach myself. I searched for every possible way to earn money, soaking up every bit of information I could find. I stumbled upon trading by accident, just an article I came across online. And to be honest, at first it seemed completely out of reach, too complicated. But I didn't give up because something in my gut told me there was something there. I had always been persistent and hardworking, and at that moment I had a purpose: helping my family. I started watching videos, reading books, and even reaching out to successful traders. 4 years ago, trading knowledge wasn't as widely available as it is now, so I had to get creative. Some people ignored me, others vague responses, but a few shared valuable insights, and to this day I'm deeply grateful to them. I began accumulating experience and asking the hard questions and diving deep into market concepts that would seem overwhelming to a beginner. But it was my natural ability to learn quickly, but before too long, the fear of not understanding faded, and I moved on to practice. If I was starting from scratch now, everything would be easier. I wouldn't have to spend so much time searching for a mentor. After many trials and errors, I realized that the knowledge and experience I'd gained could be useful not just for me, but for others who are out there starting out just like I once was. The difference now, in our community, no one gets ignored, and every question has an answer. You know where to find the link, but let's get back to the story. At first, I practiced on demo accounts, writing down every mistake. I spent hours analyzing charts, observing the market, and learning from my failures. It was a long road, and there were times when I doubted if I could even make it. There were more questions than answers. But one day, I realized it was time to step out of my comfort zone. What's the point of endless learning if I could never do something real with it? I decided to invest real money, scraping together whatever I could. I remember that evening like it was yesterday. The room was dark, only light from the screen illuminated my trembling hand. I took a deep breath and pressed the button. In that moment, my heart was pounding, my fingers clenched into fists, and all I could think of was, what if I lose everything? The chart froze, and then I started moving. I stared at the screen, feeling the fear and excitement battling inside me. The emotions were overwhelming. I had never felt such a rush before. After everything you've heard, especially about the emotional roller coaster, you're now at a crossroads, just like I once was. Take a risk and try something new, or stay where you are. I know how scary it is, but trust me, if I hadn't taken the first step, my life would never have changed. At some point, I realized something. Not everyone is as persistent or slightly crazy as I was, and that's okay. It's just a fact. Sometimes people hesitate to reach out to someone they see as a successful professional because they fear rejection. But asking for advice from someone at the same stage as you, that often feels much easier. Or reaching out to someone who is openly willing to communicate. That's how the idea of building a community came to me. A space not just for experienced traders, but also for beginners, so that no newcomer would feel lost and always have someone to turn to. But let's also go back to the beginning of my journey. My first trade ended in failure. The chart went down and I lost my already modest savings. Denial and panic took over. I wanted to slam my laptop shut down and forget this ever happened. Why did this happen? Why me? Hadn't I studied enough? Hadn't I done everything right? But then, I remembered a story from a trader I had spoken to the day before. He had also started trading with losses. But instead of giving up, he analyzed his mistakes and moved forward. So I decided to do the same. I grabbed my notebook, broke down everything I had done and wrote it all down. Then I made myself a promise. I will figure out what went wrong and try again. Because real success isn't about never failing, it's about overcoming failures no matter what. And I started getting better. Not right away, of course, but with every step, I gained more confidence. When my income finally became stable, I sent money to my parents for the first time. Their reaction? My dad didn't believe it at first, and my mom burst into tears. I will never forget that moment because I had achieved something on my own, through my own hard work, and I was able to help my family. The most important thing in my life. Now, at 23, I earn enough to support myself and help my loved ones, and I'm preparing to enroll in university to deepen my knowledge of finance. But my biggest goal isn't just to make money, it's to share what I have learned. Because once someone helped me, and now I have the chance to help someone else. You need to understand this. Trading isn't a lottery, it's a skill that can be developed. It requires discipline, analysis, patience, and continuous self-improvement. If you want to change your life, start now. Everyone has a chance. The key is not to be afraid and to start and be ready for hard work. Of course, if I had access to the same wealth of information offered by a well-established community of professionals right from the start, my journey wouldn't have been as bumpy or challenging. It's precisely because of this that I want to help those who, like me, are young and full of ambition. Not everyone helped me along the way, and sometimes the help I did get was reluctant. I want to correct that mistake and fill the information gap with such an incredible field as trading. Learning and growing are so much easier when you have the support and encouragement of like-minded, inspired people around you. Because I am living proof that anything is possible if you're willing to learn and work on yourself. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you don't stop. I know what it feels like to doubt, to be afraid, to think that it might not work, but I also know what it's like to overcome fear and succeed. And if I can do that, so can you. I believe in you. Join us and start your journey today.